means Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage with the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Sunday evening has arrived once again, and that means it's time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about that 2025 schedule release, the transfer portal, and everything else you can imagine in Auburn potpourri. So much to get into, so let's waste no further time and jump into this right now. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and of course, the Auburn family. More simply put, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're doing today on this particular live stream and podcast recording, episode 106 of the Auburn Experience podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Loomis. Alongside me, as always, my good friend and yours, Mr. Austin Scott. Welcome back, sir, to 106.
Thank you. War Eagle 106. We are 10 days away from Christmas. If you're listening live, hard to believe that with Christmas comes, a week later is the beginning of a new year after that. So it's just, we have been chugging along and 2024 is coming to a close. Glad we have a few more episodes in us this year.
We do have a few more episodes in us this year to round things out. And as always, there's never a shortage of things to discuss. I keep asking, though, Austin, every week, I want to hear from our listeners. What are you asking for from Santa Aubie, from Auburn Santa or Aubie Claus?
Bobby Claus.
Whichever way, or Bobby Claus.
Bobby Claus.
Bobby Claus, as his boys call him. What are you asking for that's Auburn related this year? Like, what are you wanting? What are you needing? Is it ornaments? Of course, we all need more shirts and stuff like that. I got a few things. I got new books and things like that I've asked for over here that are going to be hopefully gracing the bookshelf. Austin and I maybe will have like a gift showing things if we get enough of that when it comes around to Christmas time. I feel like you usually get more than I do, though.
I don't know. We'll see what it looks like this year. It'll be interesting. I can at least, I think the boys will get a good bit of things this year. So I might have to loop that into mine if we have a little show and tell.
Is there anything Aubie that they don't have right now? Like, are they lacking anything, Aubie?
I mean, no, they can always have more shirts. I know my grandmother's getting them some good stuff. They're going to really like some outerwear. And so we can show all that after Christmas. Look, they're smart individuals. I don't want them stumbling on here and finding out what they're getting for Christmas.
I was about to say, I almost kind of set you up there, and we got to be careful as they get older too, because that could get a little dangerous there. All right, we'll talk more about Auburn Christmas stuff coming up down the line. So much to get into, so much to discuss in Auburn potpourri. We will do our best to cover the majority of it, but we cannot miss an opportunity to start off by acknowledging it is the end of the fall 2024 semester with classes and now exams completed. People have walked across the stage, and we now have brand new members of the Auburn alumni family. So Austin and I do not want to miss an opportunity to welcome you, to thank you for choosing Auburn, and to express how proud we are of those of you that have made it through, which is, as Austin knows, and I know as well, sometimes very difficult to get through the challenging courses. It wouldn't, no matter what you picked at Auburn. It's a great school and a great family to be a part of. So we just wanted to open up by extending our congratulations. I know every year that passes by for Austin, it just reminds him of how much he misses going to school there.
1000%. Look, I think we talk about, rightfully so, a lot of the fun aspects about being an Auburn student, but Auburn is a internationally known university that has high pedigree. So congratulations to those graduates who have moving into the alumni world. Don't worry, the Alumni Association will call you to remind you, and they will also ask you for a few funds. So best of luck to them. I'm sure that is a very good Christmas present for a lot of those graduates.
Hey, listen, we say that with all the love for the Alumni Association because they let us do a live show, episode 100 from outside there. So they can send me all the emails they want. If they
sure can. Contact us. We love the Alumni Association. If you can answer that call when they call you and give to them, the lights will stay on there, and that means the power stays on, and that means we can go back. So
that means we can do things from there again. So obviously, other than being notified that you are now eligible to be contacted by the Alumni Association, we are glad to call you all alumni now, and welcome to that little special family within the Auburn family. Moving right along, let's talk about basketball. This is one of those weeks where we are going to have to pack our basketball talk into potpourri because there's too much else going on. But this is a very important and a very big week for Auburn basketball, facing another, what on paper seemed to be another challenging opponent in Ohio State. I kept saying Iowa State, by the way, Austin, in our post-game shows, and people kept
already done that.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is. I don't know why I messed that up. The Ohio State got the butts trounced in the holiday hoops giving game, 91-53 in Atlanta. I have to say this was probably the most boring game of the entire year, and it's against the Ohio State. Just utter domination, wasn't it?
Yeah, 91-53 is a massive margin. Didn't really even feel that close, to be honest with you. It was a dominant game by Janai Broome. Yes, I know most of you just had deja vu. It just continues to be where this Auburn team flourishes. We said this when this game was announced, there would be a massive Auburn contingent, and there was. Just a massive day for Auburn basketball, and they just keep churning through this difficult non-conference schedule with hardly any pushback. So plenty still to go. Tuesday, I believe, is their next game in Georgia State. I will, for gambling and betting purposes of those involved, I will not relay if I will be there or not, but I might be. And then there's Purdue is after that, I think. So plenty still to go for this Auburn team, but man, with every game that passes, they look better and better.
Yeah, I listen, they responded well to the loss at Duke. It's still a really good loss, and to not miss a beat taking care of Georgia State, and then just, I mean, I don't want us to get overconfident about things, but embarrassing Ohio State in Atlanta. Auburn continues to do very well and enjoy being in the Atlanta area to show off the team, the program, and the holiday hoops giving it in. I hope we get to see that more and more as time goes on. We're going on a pretty good streak right now. Next bit of news we got for you. We're going to go to the golf world here. Some really cool news that I hope didn't get lost in all of the crazy stuff that happened this week. Our very own reigning champion coach, Mr. Nick Kleinert, is going to be co-head coach of Team USA Arnold Palmer Cup. Now, Austin, please correct me if I am speaking out of turn here. I am growing in my golf knowledge, and especially of collegiate golf. But as I understand it, the Arnold Palmer Cup is not just a drink that you drink out of.
It is not. No, that's
sorry.
correct.
That was a bad. I hope that joke was, is the collegiate version of kind of what they do in golf, where the United States and Europe essentially will form a team and play against the collegiate level of that. They do that in the other, well, I forget what it's called.
The Ryder Cup.
The Ryder Cup. Thank you. See, I told you I'm growing in my knowledge here. But Coach Kleinert, our guy, is going to be the co-head coach. What an honor. I mean, and very well deserved, I think.
Oh, huge. This is very cool for him. I'll be honest, as I grow my golf knowledge alongside you, I didn't know there was a collegiate version of the Ryder Cup. I think it's very cool. I hope some of our guys will be on it. We don't know that, correct? We do not know if some of our guys are on the team yet.
I'll be frank with you. I didn't look hard enough to see if that's the case. I just got excited about seeing Coach's name on that. I was like, what an honor. And that's about where I stopped.
I would think if he's being named the co-head coach, he might have some input in that. So maybe that comes down the road. Hey, Jackson Coyven would be a great addition to that team. But we'll see how that goes. Look, that's going to be already very cool to follow with him a part of it. Hopefully some Auburn Tigers get on the teams as well. So very cool though for him. That's a really big deal. But I think you're right. I'm glad we're acknowledging it because it might have gotten lost in the Auburn circles with just the busy week that it was.
Yeah, and it shouldn't, because obviously reigning head coach of a national championship program and likely candidate to at least compete for a repeat, that definitely deserves recognition of itself. But he continues to be a very well-respected name in the golf game, especially collegiate. And so I'm glad that he got this honor announced this week. So we'll look forward to following him in the Arnold Palmer Cup. Next little bit of news that we got here for you is going to be the Alabama-Mississippi State All-Star Game, which is something that's been going on for quite some time. This is in the recruiting space. Obviously, there's a lot of details we're going to miss on this and gloss over it, but let's be honest, Austin, most people put all of this to see what Deuce Knight was going to do, and he did not disappoint. Being from Mississippi, being on their team, was the MVP by the result of it. I saw a pretty nice run for him, I believe, for a touchdown. Maybe there was more, but I remember one very clearly. So he had a great game, it seems like. And I think even just to add on top of talking about Deuce here, if you go and look at the list, which I had it compiled at one point, of all the names from Mississippi and Alabama that were on these and are coming to Auburn, this speaks to Auburn not only doing so well in these prospective states, but just, taking care of down home, especially on the Alabama side of these staff. So it sounded like it was Auburn should be very pleased with the results of what was shown in that All-Star game.
Yeah, I think so. It felt like there were a lot of highlights I saw where you just heard Auburn signees or Auburn commits names over and over and over again. I think Anquan Fagans had a really good day. Got the better of Deuce Knight once or twice, I think. But Deuce Knight, the MVP for his performance. And I mean, that can't help but make Auburn fans even more excited for the recruiting class of what they're doing against top level talent. And we'll see if that can continue when they get to the Plains.
Future teammates already competing each other, making each other better. And so that can only help the program going forward. So we're excited for that new talent rolling in. I think we'll try to rapid fire here. I can't let us miss this, to be honest with you. And it's a little bit, I don't want to say controversial, but it is something that I think people try to share opinions that they, can I just go on a rant for a second?
Here we go.
There's this notion out there that just because I can say some things, that doesn't mean that you should. So please keep that in mind with these things.
This specific to just the topic we're about to talk about?
This is specific to everybody in the world. I include myself with that. Sorry, I have a podcast, so I guess I at least get to say it and probably pay the consequences for it still. So we're calling this Cam Newton week. So a lot of interesting things. First, let's talk about the good. Cam returns to the Heisman ceremony for the very first time since 2010, when he was the winner. I think we all recognize that there was probably a lot of hard feelings for not allowing his dad to come to that ceremony, or at least, I don't know that we should say not allow, was suggested it's probably a good idea that he didn't, which he didn't. And that was very emotional for Cam to not have his dad there at that time because of all of the quote unquote scandal that was proven to be untrue. There are no facts or anything to suggest that any part of that was true. But you can't really, I'll be honest, you can't blame Cam for having some hard feelings. How about that? About coming back to that ceremony. But at the same token, it's nice to see him back there for that Heisman ceremony.
Yeah, very cool. Really ironic, with the way Travis Hunter won this year from Colorado, and his dad was not present as well. So kind of interesting. But good to see Cam back in Cam fashion. He had the fashion statement while he was there too with his Heisman cowboy hat. Not surprised at all, but very cool to see him. That's always, I did not watch live the whole presentation this year, but that is always something that I hate that we don't get to see in years past, is Cam being there. I don't think Bo gets to make it very regularly either. So good to see some Auburn flair back on it this year.
Yeah, and listen, I hope this is going to be a case for him to continue going with him. I think officially being retired from football now and doing more media stuff, he's probably going to need to make more appearances like this. Just in general, that's just a smart marketing move. Right. So I hope we get to see Cam there more often. It was nice to see him there this time. Last bit of thing, let's try to keep this short.
Oh boy.
You probably saw the clips this week from Cam. Deuce Knight has made it very apparent, the new quarterback coming in, that he wants to wear number 2. Cam was asked on his podcast, I believe, and I would highly recommend that if you're going to watch that clip to not have children around, to share opinions about that. Now, I think, some people are going to already have some opinions formed about Cam and the way he chooses to talk in this and maybe how it comes across and stuff like that. Let's not focus on that, all right? Because everybody's just going to be jerks one way or the other on that topic. Unless you want to, Austin. You feel free to dive into. He says,
no, thanks.
He says no. The topic was, should Deuce Knight wear number 2? Cam says, I don't think you've earned it yet, essentially. So no.
But leaves the door open.
I think he left the door open. But I hope also Deuce recognizes that maybe it's best that you tread your own path there. I mean, any takes that you want to give on that in the productive manner?
Yeah, honestly, I was just surprised by how much this blew up this week.
We're bored. That's why it blew up.
I think so. But I hadn't really heard anything that Deuce had made it very apparent he wanted to wear 2. I knew he wore 2 as a high school player in his recruit video or his recruit shoots. But I didn't think anything really past that because we've seen that before where the kids wore 2 because that was their number. His name is Deuce. So, that kind of falls in line, but
it's unfortunate for him because
it is unfortunate for him. And I don't blame the kid if he does want to wear 2. My kind of where I start with it is I'm kind of wondering why isn't 2 retired yet by Auburn? I really
no. Here we listen. I told you not to bring.
I'm not going to get it far into it, but it does kind of it has baffled me for a while. That we were almost 15 years removed, and the other 2 Heisman winners plus Terry Beasley are retired. Like, unless we just want this cloud out there about can somebody wear 2 or not, it doesn't make sense to me to not just go ahead and do it. There might be reasons I don't know for that. That's totally fine. However, in the present state we're in, and that it seems to be available, but not available without Cam's blessing, I'm okay with Deuce not wearing it. I think that's totally fine. I think
Sure.
Cam saying you should try and blaze your own path in so many words is good information, good advice. And then, I think he said, now if you go out there and ball out, come back at me and we'll see if maybe you get to wear it. But personally, from Austin speaking, who's never worn the number 2 jersey on Jordan Hare Stadium on Pat Dye Field, I don't think anybody should wear it because we don't let anybody else wear 7 and 34. But
wait a minute.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
You saying I can't wear my number 2 jersey into Jordan Hare anymore
on Pat Dye Field?
What if I storm the field again? I'm 3 for 3, baby.
You're going to make me use some of Cam's colorful language if you don't quit.
Oh, boy. I think we made it through that, so I'm not going to push you any further with getting any more stirred up from that.
Does that seem to make sense, though? Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense. And I actually, as you were talking, wrote down in our future topics that need to be addressed the topic of when should someone be retired as a number, when should a statue. We'll use that for weeks in the summer where we need deeper dives into this stuff. So anyway, that's Auburn Potpourri for this week. Took a little bit longer, but there were some things out there we certainly need to address. Let's move right now into our main topics. And we're going to start with the portal this week because right. One more time. Is that the noise that makes every time someone enters it, like, or leaves?
It's either that or whoosh.
I'm going to did you just do a Marvel MCU?
That's what the signees videos have on it. Tell me that's not the same portal. Tell me it's not. That is a Doctor Strange. If I really wanted to do correct, I would do the Doctor Strange where I go, ooh.
How did I miss that? It's
what it is.
It's what it is, man. All right. Portal Talk. It opened this past Monday officially. People had already said they were entering. All that's transpiring. And keep in mind, we are discussing this on a Sunday evening. Things are going to change probably by the time that you've even maybe watched this segment, or if we put out a separate clip or something like that. It's wild. It's the portal. It's silly season. But we do want to talk about who has entered through the portal to Auburn, because I think there's some important things, those that have been confirmed and reported as of us doing this. But also there's a very important aspect of this that got pretty wild this past Saturday with quarterbacks. So we will save that for the back half. Let's talk about those that have already arrived, though. We have running back Darrell Robinson from UConn, punter Hudson Cock, which is C-A-A-K.
No, K-A-A-K. Yeah.
See, here I'm trying my best, and I can't even spell the thing right. C-A-A-K. And that will be a fun one throughout the rest of the time. We also have reportedly Xavier Chaplin from Virginia Tech that has not. Austin, keep it together. Austin, listen. I was doing fine.
I was fine until you misspelled it.
I was doing fine. And then you.
What's the big boy from Virginia Tech's name? Xavier Chaplin is the boy from Virginia Tech. A left tackle with 2 years of eligibility left as I take over for my co-host here, and a position of great need. Is that right, Kyle?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Welcome back.
All right. I'm sorry, folks. Sorry, Hudson. Offensive line, Xavier Chaplin, Virginia Tech, as you said, is a reported thing out there. As of this moment, I don't think it's been confirmed by Auburn. I checked right before we went live, and I don't think anything is. Austin can check for me if he'd like. Oh, my gosh. Let's talk about these guys a little bit. Running back, Darrell Robinson. I think, obviously, we all recognize that there was a need for I'm still messing up on this thing.
Gracious alive.
We talked pre-show about this too, and I still messed it up. My goodness. Oh no. This is why you watch the live portion of the show, and I guess the replay as well. All right, bringing it back again. Running back Darrell Robinson was definitely, I think, a need that needed to be addressed. Auburn likes to have about 4 running backs that are on. I think there's more on scholarship because if I'm not mistaken, Sean Jackson is still here, and I think he's been elevated. But I think the point I'm trying to make is 4 primary running backs that you're likely going to have a chance to see. And not to say anything against Sean, but he's a walk-on and he got elevated to a scholarship. We all recognize the trajectory that sometimes follows. And frankly, I'd love to see Sean Jackson get some more footing because I love me a big old hog molly at running back.
Mm-hmm.
But Darrell Robinson, he's a bigger back too coming in here. And I think, frankly, pairs very nicely because he's got a lot of eligibility left with Alvin Henderson, who's going to be a little bit smaller of a back. I'm not going to say he doesn't have some power, but I would probably associate him more with a little bit of speed and shiftiness and things like that. The thunder and lightning type of comparison that's been made before in football. What do you think about that? In terms of pairing them together with that eligibility that he still has left.
Yeah, pretty cool to see Darrell Robinson come down to the Plains. He's got 3 years left, I think. He's just looked about 5'11", 198. So really cool to see for him. I think he pairs well with this room. Alvin Henderson, obviously very young. Damari Alston and Jeremiah Cobb already here have been established, but all 4 different kind of skill sets that can help Auburn do a number of things. I think an interesting note about Darrell Robinson is his high school is at St. Francis Academy in Maryland, which just continues to blossom for Auburn. So really cool there. I think that you can't tell me that didn't help things. So just very cool. I think Auburn fans are going to be pleased with him. It'll be very interesting to see, obviously coming off a year with Jarquez Hunter, the primary back that everybody knows, the country knows, how that running back room shakes out and how they get the most out of it.
Yeah, I'm excited for what he potentially means for that group because I like Damari and Jeremiah together this year. I think you always want to have that nice 2-back tandem that primarily gets the carries. Last year it was Damari and Jarquez. This year, and then Jeremiah as well got in the mix too, but he's definitely and hopefully going to get some more carries too this year. I'm excited about that. We obviously know that we needed a new punter in Hudson because I know we got one in the portal with McGuire coming in from Thompson, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
In the high school ranks.
Yeah, high school ranks, yes. But, in a perfect world, you get to bring these kickers in and redshirt them for a year and then start them. Now, Hudson, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to be listed as a junior. So here I am trying to do math in my head. Yeah. 2 years left? So, okay. Yeah. So it might work out great to have McGuire come in, redshirt, learn, grow, and have somebody with some experience take over for these next 2 years. Here's the great thing about it. He's from the land down under too. And apparently it's a thing now, just like it's going to Maryland to get recruits now from this specific academy, apparently. we go to the land down under. We're going back. We're talking about Oscar Chapman. We're talking about Aaron Sipas, I think is technically how you pronounce that. I mean, come on. You can't tell me that we just don't make a point of going at least to somebody who has national ties to Australia at this point.
Everybody loves the rugby kickers from the land down under. I'm glad Hudson will be a part of that legacy there. Sounds like he's a very athletic guy from Oklahoma State. Did a lot of good things. Is very quick, can run. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does. I think I looked up. He had a pretty good year for Oklahoma State. Had like 45-ish yard average. So that's an area of need that we probably was not talked about very much going into the portal and off-season year. You like you said, you have McGuire coming in, but look, anytime you want to put a lot on a freshman can be tricky. So good to see that they have a guy that can kind of, if McGuire beats him out, he beats him out, but they can ease him into it.
Certainly, I think there's that obvious trajectory for both guys is there. We'll see what happens when you go out and compete, but I like that. We don't know a lot about Xavier Chaplin. That as of this podcast, as I said, it's only been reported, it has not been confirmed by Auburn. So we'll probably talk some more about that in time. But if it's true and is confirmed by Auburn soon, we will have the first of maybe multiple offensive line.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think you're taking multiple?
I think you will definitely get multiple. Obviously, it helps you get Dylan Wade back. He announced this week.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Returning.
Yes,
that's huge for Auburn. I still think you're going to see Auburn try to find themselves a couple tackles. Virginia Tech, Xavier Chaplin, if confirmed by Auburn, started every game for 2 years. So you really like his frame. You really like the way he has experience. That is as big of a important piece to me as the quarterback position is, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. So I really like that. If it's confirmed, I still like to see Auburn get some more of those to continue building that line. Feels like you can never have enough. So really, really good to see those needs addressed.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the big part of this week with the portal. And I think we all anticipated, because of the conversation around the quarterback side of this portal, was just going to get wild. Everybody had their opinions. Everybody swears that this source told them this is the reason this person is going to be the savior of Auburn football and stuff like that. Names like Malik Murphy, Miller Moss, I think was in there at some point too. Several other names out there. One of the ones that kind of rose to the top, Jackson Arnold, who ultimately decides to transfer to Auburn. It is official, and I think it's not unfair to just make the statement, looks like the heir apparent to the starting job. This is with the fact that as soon as he signed, that Holden had left, that Hank had left, Peyton is done with his eligibility, and you have Deuce Knight coming in. Think that was in Walker White at that time. We'll talk about in a second. He looked like the logical choice with his experience, his pedigree. Is that a fair leap to make at that point, Austin?
At that point, and at this point, I think you can say it looks like Jackson Arnold is in line to be the starting quarterback on the Plains next year. Now, mix of intel, mix of hunch. I don't think, we talked recently about how Hugh Freeze says he likes 4 scholarship quarterbacks. Sure. There are only 2 now, as we'll get into in a minute, with Deuce Knight and Jackson Arnold. I still think that there's a chance you see. Now we've seen the Stanford quarterback. I think that we've talked about him before. I think that there's a chance you bring it. I still think that after some playoff games, we could still hear some more from Auburn. I don't know for certain. We don't know if that will pan out, but I think it's good that we've seen that it looks like there's a talented potential full guy in Jackson Arnold that Auburn has already brought in and is already kind of checking their bases on some things. Plenty of criticism last year about why they didn't do more early in the portal, why they ended up where they ended up. So I think it's good that Auburn and this Freeze staff has kind of learned from that, in the sense that they're addressing the portal differently, using it to some different strengths. But it certainly looks like at the floor right now, it looks like Jackson Arnold is in line to compete for the starting job. And a guy that fits what Auburn wants to do. I think when it looks like he is an RPO guy, which is what Hugh Freeze loves, all the talent in the world, coming out of high school, ran into a lot of injuries and unfortunate situations last year at Oklahoma, but could kind of find that new life. I am not saying at all whatsoever this is what's going to happen. I'm not saying that he is going to be the first round draft pick of the Denver Broncos soon, but I think you can tie a lot of the same comparisons to Bo Nix when he left Auburn, of a guy who just hadn't really found what can be pulled out of him the most yet, like they did at Oregon. So it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of this portal and quarterback recruitment fills out for Auburn before the signing window ends and the second signing window ends, and it feels like 15 signing windows in. And it would obviously be very interesting to see what it looks like as they go into the season next year.
Yeah, and that was a big enough narrative as it was. And then the bomb dropped and the floor dropped out this Saturday afternoon. I actually took a break from all the other stuff that was happening that Saturday, even beyond portal stuff, and went to go help my mother-in-law with a little house project she needed. And I, did finish this project up, and I opened my phone to just chaos. Walker White is entering the transfer portal. This is the guy that a lot of people had their minds, probably me as well, and I think most people would say, as the future of the Auburn quarterback room. I think we all make initial assumptions and leaps of, I want to say judgment, but just leaps of jump to conclusions about what we think the reason it is. I think it is very easy and very sadly inappropriate sometimes to just go with your first gut and just start commenting things out. What I'm referencing is saying he's tired of competition, or not tired of competition. He doesn't want to compete, things like that. Frankly, folks, you can make that case about everybody that enters the transfer portal, and that's not always the main reason that they're leaving, even if it seems like it's the most obvious thing. So people need to check themselves sometimes and be a little bit more thoughtful with what they, again, we got to kind of go back to that, what I said at the beginning. Just because you can say something doesn't mean that you should. There's a responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility, if you might say. It's the second Marvel reference on the show this week. You get more than just Auburn stuff here, folks. That's, hey, listen, there's another wall over there. We'll talk about another sometimes too. I wanted to run into that wall a little while ago on the show because of what happened, but anyway.
Yeah, you're right, and I think it came as a shock to myself as well. But I think some people at Auburn, it came as a shock as well too. But I think that the way we talk about it, we either way you want to go with it, whether you are trying to say it's because of this reason or because it's of another reason, we don't know. And I think that it would be best served to just hold that your own commentary until Walker can speak, or until we find out his next destination. Even then, it might not be your place to say anything at all. So I think that there is a lot to respect about Walker. He's a guy that came in that it really started the recruiting momentum for Auburn back when he signed as kind of a surprise. And I hate that it's not going to work out for him to stay at Auburn and compete for that spot. But I think that he will have plenty of success where he goes. He seems like a great kid. But that leaves room for Auburn to sign someone else too. So the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. So we will see how all things go.
And I'm going to step out here, and I don't know if Austin feels it's appropriate to address this part, but I think it is a part of something that people need to consider, that his mother is going through cancer treatments and has been very open with her journey about that on social media and stuff. So this isn't something that they've hidden as a family, and they've handled it very bravely as someone who has lost a father and several people and family members to cancer. I admire that a lot. So I certainly feel that this decision, when you have that context, probably there's something reflected in that, and there's a lot to be respected in that as well. And who knows, he may not go near there. I don't know. Maybe there's another opportunity. Right. We don't know why Walker chose us until he chooses, if he chooses to speak. We just bring that up for people to recognize, hey, just because you don't like the decision, just because it fits your narrative of chaos and because you hate Hugh Freeze and he's running some player off, doesn't mean it's true, folks. Take a chill pill. Think before you speak. Just because you can say it doesn't mean you should. Maybe I shouldn't say anymore. That. I think we covered it though. Look, we're going to be talking about the portal some more, I'm sure, but it is nice to at least kind of get that first wave of the quarterback talk and a quarterback decision going, but plenty more, as you said, that may happen after playoff games. We will see what may transpire. The portal giveth and it taketh away. The other big news this week, Austin, and I wasn't ready for it, to be honest with you. And I should have known, because if you go back and I did some research, the same exact time last year they did it. So I kind of put a note for me a year from now to anticipate this from going forward. They announced the 2025 scheduled dates. Now, we have known the non-conference opponents. In fact, we've known, I think, all of those dates for a while. But what it was is the SEC was going to announce their schedule for the 2025 football season, thus completing everybody's schedule. And you now can start planning, the dates, not the times, but you can at least say, oh, look, we can travel here on this day or that on that day. So let me give them to you at the start of the show. Most of you can find the graphic. We put stuff out about it. Everybody's got it. How about this? I don't have the dates written down, but this is the order of everybody playing starting in week 1. Auburn will travel to Baylor, followed by Ball State at home, and then South Alabama at home. We will travel then to Oklahoma, travel to Texas A&M, and then we will host Georgia. Now, that bye week, Austin, I think is right before Georgia, or is it right after Georgia?
It is. I have the dates if you want all this, by the way. I should have told you that before.
Maybe I should have just shut up and let you do it. How about you just take it from here, buddy, and just do that?
That bye date is before Georgia on October 4th. Georgia, it will be the first home game in nearly a month back at Jordan-Hare on October 11th, followed by a home game against Missouri on October 18th. 2 October home games, Kyle. Praise the Lord. At Arkansas on October 25th. Home against Kentucky on November 1st. At Vanderbilt / Nashville / Auburn North on November 8th.
I knew you were going to say that. I love it.
Another open date to get ready for Mercer. And then on November 22nd, we'll face off the Bears of the SoCon Mercer, and then the Iron Bowl on November 29th.
A lot of Bear action in this schedule. What's up with that? I mean, Baylor Bears, Mercer Bears. If we had the schizophrenic, Ole Miss in here, we could say Bears as well, but we don't. If you had Cincinnati in there, you could say Bearcats. Anyway, I'll shut up about Bears. So for some reason, I'm on a Bear kick right now. I barely know why. God, I'm all over the place this show. I'm so sorry. You know what? I should have ended a little while ago. It's just gone away and let you just do this by yourself. What's your
what I was gonna ask you, what stands out, Kyle? What do you well, obviously the October games. That's the only thing I cared about. That's the only thing I wanted to know.
You know what stands out to me is what makes sense. Do not give one team 5 straight home games in the scorching just bowels of Hades of Alabama weather in September.
I'm going to allow this for you to make your pitch at this time too of what you would like. For I'm going to allow you to make your pitch at this time.
There is a opportunity here to get a little retribution. There's an opportunity here to be what should always be is homecoming in the month of October when it actually feels good, because October in Auburn is amazing. Now, what is it actually going to happen? And listen, folks, those of you in the athletic, we know it's going to be South Alabama. We know it. Like it's not even a question in my mind of what, because the home opener is not going to be homecoming. The second game is South Alabama. It just makes too much sense for the traditional things. I know the people who make these decisions, you're doing the best you can. Please, when I criticize you, this isn't me saying you're not trying or all that kind of stuff. Yep. This is just me saying this doesn't make sense. We can do Georgia just like they did to us last year, and boy, could we just stick it to them in that way. Or you know what? Since we had so much fun last time with Missouri at homecoming, why not? Let's do it again.
Well, they did it to us too this year. Missouri, remember we heard over and over on the broadcast they invented homecoming. So I'd be fine with either of those. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. To me, it's not as big of a snub anymore if you're their homecoming, especially in dadgum Auburn, Alabama, where we're just trying to get a little break from the heat. Let's just do October homecoming. Right?
I'm fine with Georgia. Look, let's do it. I think retribution. I think a little bit of it's the same. Give it back to them as they gave it to us last year. See, here's the thing, though. Y'all chose to make us your homecoming in a year where you were pretty sure there was a question about us. We're not really questioning that Georgia's going to be relevant. Missouri's probably got a good shot to be relevant if they fix a few things too. So this, at least if we do it, it looks like we ain't scared of you to do it. So I'll just say that. Anyway, I think I've seen some comments and stuff like that online, everything, that this is the easiest schedule that Auburn's had in a lifetime. I'm going to say I disagree. I want your take on that.
All right, I'm going to disagree with that. I think if this year, I think that's easy to say going this far out. But I also think that in the recent years of the era of college football, wherein parity has never been more even than it is now.
And it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And Auburn fell on the wrong side of this example, but Vanderbilt is a great example of that. I think that they're actually showing you they can compete in that middle tier of the SEC now. And you know, so I don't look at this schedule as super, super easy. Now, if you want to say the non-conference looks pretty manageable, I think that's fair. Really, you're only playing really at Baylor,
which is not going to be easy, folks.
It's not going to be easy at all. Kyle, will you be making that trip? I don't know.
I have had discussions with my brother since this game was announced like 5 years ago, because they are master's degree graduates, seminary graduates of their seminary school out there. So they have connections. I'll just go and give a little shout out to my youngest brother who just got engaged to another Baylor.
All right, there we go.
And yet more connections may or may not be hitting y'all up for something to stay, somewhere to stay, things like that. Who knows? I probably just did that.
But really, so that's obviously my mother is a proud Baylor graduate. So same as you, we've been talking about this for a long time. But that's a very cool non-conference game, very unique, not one you hear about like Cal, like Penn State, like we've been doing. So if you take that game out, obviously the non-conference schedule looks pretty manageable, looks pretty cupcake, if we'll say.
But we won't forget who we're playing on what week. Certain Texas A&M coaches need to remember that. The reason I disagree with this being the easiest schedule. What, did I say something wrong?
No, I'm missing what do you mean? What do you mean we won't forget?
Forget what?
We won't forget who we're playing on certain Texas A&M? I'd miss that totally.
Oh, I thought you threw that reference out there that when you made the joke about Mercer. No. I was just saying, my gosh, they gave us a bye before Mercer. Thanks a lot. No. See, I misinterpreted you thinking you were making a joke at the Texas A&M coach making the slip up about it. Anyway,
I see.
Moving on. Here's the reason that I disagree with the take that this is the easiest schedule we have in quite some time. It's the start of the schedule.
Yeah.
You can say what you want about Baylor. You got to go on the road to Baylor. Yes, you got what should be cupcakes in Ball State in South Alabama. But then you got to go to Norman, Oklahoma for the very first time. You got to go to Texas A&M, who's going to be a challenge, as they showed they can do in the first year of Mike Elko. And then you got to come home, maybe for homecoming, and play Georgia. That is I hope people are ready for what could be a very rough start to the year. And I say that because so many of you are just itching and just waiting so you can do your call, Hugh Freeze should be fired things. You need to prepare yourself that Auburn could have a very challenging start to the year. The back end of it looks a little bit more manageable. And that, I think we need to be having more well-rounded discussions about, is this the easiest or the hardest? The way it starts is just, in my opinion, going to be very rough for Auburn. If they get out of it unscathed or very little scathed, that's going to be impressive too, as well, I would say.
I agree. Yeah. The first half certainly looks like Auburn joined the Big 12 in like the mid 2000s when they're going to Baylor, going to Oklahoma, and going to A&M. Don't forget that Oklahoma game, to piggyback off our first big topic, Jackson Arnold's first SEC game as an Auburn Tiger, going back to Norman. That. Pretty crazy. I'm just preparing you all now because you'll hear about that the entire week leading up to it. And
did you hear he's from Texas as well?
Oh, well, great. That's just fantastic.
He's probably going to be engaged soon as well. So he'll probably be, returning. Well, he'll be hearing about him returning to Oklahoma. Did you know he's from Texas? Did you know that he just got engaged? All of those things all at once.
All those things.
Yes.
All those things. So, but I think you're right. That first half is rough. There, you could look at a myriad of how the record comes out halfway through the year. And there will be plenty to talk about as people, if things go well or don't go well through those first 5 to 6 games. So we'll see. To me, this schedule just, I don't see it as super easy, super hard. It just looks like a Auburn and the SEC schedule, which for the past several years, and the way the conference has been on a trajectory, it's just hard. It's just always going to be hard. You cannot take any opponent lightly. So it certainly looks fun. No matter what, I just love that we have games in October. I love that we don't have a whole bunch stacked up or stacked in the beginning or late. I don't like that.
Preach.
Still don't like 2 buys, but I'm not going to talk about that too much with Kyle.
Listen, I've already had one rant tonight. I've already had one slip up tonight. Don't get me started.
It wasn't a slip up. You were accurate. It was accurate. Your slip up. It was not a slip up. It was accurate.
Austin, I'm gonna get going
of it.
Austin,
I cannot wait for the first time on the starting lineups.
Stop it, Austin. You're not behaving. We had this talk pre-show about the schedule.
Just get ready. Rick Smith is getting ready right now.
Why am I flipping around a piece of cardboard? Because I'm stressed out because Austin's trying to get us started again. That something happened earlier in the show. If you missed it, I'm sorry. You need to go back and watch the whole show.
Starting punter Hudson.
Last thing that I want to talk to you here, I got to get this out of you before we move on from this topic. And there's plenty of time to continue to break down this schedule even more. Way too early predictions. We are sitting in December of 2024. No. Come on, listen. This is, we got to get the clicks and stuff. This is something that gets the clicks. Okay.
Oh, I think we've already accomplished that. We have already accomplished all the clicks we need if you put the right clip out. All right. I'm just gonna go through it rapid fire with you. You ready?
Yeah.
At Baylor, we win. You
win.
Keep up with your own record.
Yeah, and by the way, this is like we're doing this in December. We're not holding ourselves to this. This is just rapid fire gut reaction.
We'll probably do this 3 more times.
All right, you start us, you sell us, and I'll do the win or whatever. Go ahead.
Okay. Versus Ball State, win.
Win.
Versus South Alabama on homecoming, win.
Win, not homecoming.
At Oklahoma, win.
Win.
At Texas A&M, loss. Bye week. Home against Georgia.
Homecoming. Not.
Gosh, I want to say it so bad. Win. I'll say win.
I'm gonna say loss.
That's fine. That you're being smart. Home against Missouri, win.
Win.
At Arkansas, win.
Loss.
Yeah, I really want to say. Can I change mine? I'm gonna say
nope. It's locked in forever.
I'm changing. Dang it. Home against Kentucky, win.
Win.
At Vanderbilt, win.
Big win.
Bye week. Mercer, win.
Not as big of a win, but still a win over, less than Vanderbilt.
Iron Bowl, win because it's December.
Iron Bowl win because I don't care. It's
here I am telling people to stop saying this is easy, and I think I just picked us to go like 10-2.
You did pick us. I did 9-3. I did 9-3.
One of those is going to be wrong for me, and I think it'll be 9-3. So I'll say that. But
my rule of thumb these days is you need to have some logical ones in there. So the logical thing right now is to pick a loss of either both or at least one of Georgia and Alabama. I think you need to find something.
There's some road game.
But it could be a home game too. That's just going to be the thing that gets everybody stirred up on fire Hugh Freeze talks and all, or whoever the coach is at the time. And I think that Arkansas game sets itself up for some damage there. Outside of that, the Baylor thing could be a problem though, but I'm right now where I'm sitting at. I don't see a reason to fear that. So I think it's very easy to jump and make the 9-3, the 10-2 scenario. But let's be honest, Austin, if Auburn comes out of this 8-4,
I'm happy.
I am adequately satisfied with that.
Yeah.
Content and moving, and we should all move forward at that point. Q everybody.
With you saying 9-3, is that playoffs?
No. I look, I want to start. I'll take the route of we need to earn our way into it. Now, listen, if there's a bunch of 9-3 teams there's like 3 spots left, 2 spots left, then sure, let's talk about resumes, types of wins, all that stuff. But I don't think 9-3.
It's going to be hard for a 3-loss team to get in.
I'm very happy. I'm happy that the committee made the decision they did this year for obvious reasons. But I think it's the right
because of Rhett
decision.
Lashley. We're proud of Rhett Lashley, right?
Exactly right. What were you talking about? I was talking about Rhett Lashley. I mean,
well, as an honorary member of the Twin Dad community, our official stance is that we're proud of Rhett Lashley.
And probably my wife being the biggest fan of just the Lashleys in general. Like she follows them on Instagram and stuff. Yeah. She's very happy about that. So I'll say that this is way too early predictions. We just wanted to do it for fun to start off. We'll wait till, fall camp even gets rolling before we give you our official stuff, but you have it. In the meantime, so much more discussion to be had. What a show, Austin. We had a moment.
That's one way to say it.
We had discussions, we had opinions, and still found ways to come back to that moment that probably shouldn't have been come back to. So thank you for that. But that's the nature of the show and the nature of the beast that is the Auburn Experience podcast. Thank you for joining us for episode 106. If you want to follow me, do so on X at Kyle Loomis 24. Where can they find you?
Yeah, at X, at Instagram, Austin G. Scott. Plenty of Christmas content to come.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us and being part of our little family within the Auburn family, where we talk about that Auburn experience. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, I kept Austin way too long again, so he's got to get out of here. Final questions, comments, topics from you, sir.
We did great. I think that was one of our best shows. I'll be honest with you.
It
was a show.
It was a good show. Yeah,
we're unhinged. This is my last week of work before Christmas break. So
can I be honest with you? It didn't hit me how I spelled it until you said it.
Are you for real? You said it, and I went, "What is he about to say next?"
The reason that I said, the reason I was so shocked with it, because I just thought you were going to start laughing at me and mess me up because
I was going to hold it together, and
then I realized, oh crap, I actually spelled it the wrong way, and there we go. I had. To quote our favorite show, I had one of our favorite radio shows, Rick and Bubba's The Tick Scare moment.
Yes. Moment of silence.
Pour one out, I guess. Well, I won't do that here on the equipment, but sorry, I didn't.
Yep, moment of silence.
I didn't really give you one.
No, you didn't. When you started and you said C, it was right there.
It was done.
The mental fortitude I had from our talk pre-show was all there until you said C, and then it was gone. Because everyone else knew at that point.
Yeah, so go back and watch that if you missed it. Austin.
Look, it won't be the first time, and it certainly won't be the last.
And I'm going to be the one that does it. I know now. I'm just going to be that thing that's stuck in my head, and I can't,
At least it won't. You just think about my former professor, Rick Smith, will also say it in front of 88,000 people. Multiple times this year, probably. And he will hold it together as a professional because he's the greatest. But it's going to be really funny.
I think we should stop talking.
We should. We'd like to stay on YouTube.
We'd like to stay on YouTube. There are worse things that are on YouTube than what just happened. But anyway, it's out there for
imagine.
You. All right, sir. Thanks for hanging out, and appreciate you.
I will see you next week, likely, and we will talk further. But War Eagle and Merry Christmas to everyone. If not,
War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, folks, you're stuck with me for a few minutes here. We went a little long tonight. I like to give you guys a Q&A time. So there's 2 minutes to 10 o'clock as of this live show, but I will try my best. I'm just seeing some of these comments now. Oh, my gosh. I will do my best to give you guys a little bit more time here for Q&A. So post some stuff right now. I see a couple things I can probably go back to and reference, but if there's something specific you'd like me to talk about more from the show, address, now's the time to do it. I'm going to give you the rundown as we normally do at the end of our live stream so you know what's going on for those of you that are regulars here. If you're not a regular, make sure you're subscribed or following whichever platform you're on. So that way you don't miss content here. Here's some of the content we got coming up for you. Next scheduled live streams, we've got our post-game basketball shows we're doing all season. Auburn versus Georgia State this Tuesday. It'll be not super late, but late enough once. But I hope you can join us. We have good discussions there about the game, celebrating this team. We're all expecting to win, but let's talk about it and break it down. No matter how you feel about how definite of a win this may be. The other thing that you've got to look forward to, several things, is we got Auburn Family Night this week. That'll be this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, as it always has been since the dawn of time. Likely not going to have one the next week. Well, we'll see. We've been debating that, but this next week, this Wednesday before Christmas, Auburn Family Night. Join us for that live call-in show, Q&A, lots of different topics. Post-game show for Auburn versus Purdue, big one. I'll be doing that one on the road, so we'll ask for your patience with that and getting set up there where I will be. But we will do a post-game show for that. And as always, I want to remind you of let me see something here. That's an interesting note I just got from anyway. Okay. We'll cover that in just a second. Purdue, that game, sorry, I'm a little thrown off now, but check this out as well. If you want to help support us, you can do that by checking out the links in our description. If you want to support us and buy yourself something for Christmas at Alumni Hall, if you go through our link in our link tree, it's on our description here on YouTube. It'll support them and support us. Gives us a little bit of a kickback as an affiliate. That's the easy way you can do that. So other thing as well, before I maybe address this text I just got, the schedule for the next episode of the Auburn Experience, which we're doing right now, just the Q&A portion, 107, is a little bit, I want to say in question. It will be next Sunday, which would be the 22nd. Yeah. 23rd, 22nd. I have a family event that may force us to either have to do it late or may make me like getting there right on time. It'll depend. I don't know what our time frame for being at this family event is going to be, but we're going to do our best to get 107 out next week. But if we do miss it for some reason, I hope you guys understand. It's just the holidays and that's what happened. But our goal is to do episode 107 next week. So just be on standby for that. All right. I want to take some of your comments and questions. And let me actually read this text. This is not like a transfer portal, but it is something Auburn related. And I don't know that I should. No, I should not address this. Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry. I know that kind of just led y'all on and stuff like that, but that was the nature of trying to handle this while we were live. Anyway, if there's anything to talk about that, we'll do it on social media and stuff about that. Okay. Let me try to reel this show back in, which I have struggled to keep on pace this entire night. Unbeaten Lake says, get Janai Broom Under Armour jersey while you can, because he'll be gone forever soon. One, because he won't be here long, but also Under Armour. It's a good point, Unbeaten Lake. WT said, I'm pleasantly surprised at how good the basketball team has been pre-SEC schedule. I won't say that I'm surprised, WT, but I will say that what I felt like was there, where I felt like we were heading, I'm pleased to have confirmation of that, because you get a little cautious. You've been burned before, and it looks like everything tracks for the team to be this good. But when you put in with that, how difficult this non-conference schedule was going to be just on paper alone, and is tracked that way, it meets all expectations and exceeds it. And it's just nice to have that, that definitely confirmed for you. Wow, some of y'all's comments I cannot address. So Felix is bringing up a good question, something we didn't talk about during the show, because as we went live, that had not been confirmed by anything yet. Man, I hope that is what I'm, never mind. I need to focus and not lead y'all on and stuff like that. Jeez. I really want to address it, but I can't. I don't know that it's appropriate to do so. I'm looking at this report here for you guys, since we're live on this, that East Carolina was going to hire linebackers coach Josh Aldridge. I'm going to see if they have confirmed it. I do not see any confirmation. I've been checking all day. Now, reports are out there that Josh Aldridge, linebacker coach / edge, is really the position that he was leading this year, but frankly, that's kind of a semi-linebacker position, was out there for him to take, and reports were going that looks like that. So that's not confirmed as of us doing the stream. I think this is a good question to ask. Who is it? Felix asked it earlier. Where did it go? I lost it in the chat here. Who do you think the next linebacker coach will be? The linebackers is DJ Durkin, which I think answers the question for you. I would not be shocked if Vontrell King Williams, our defensive tackles, interior defensive line coach, doesn't expand to just take over defensive ends, and then the edge guys aren't absorbed by the linebacker. I think if you had the salary room for Coach Aldridge to be there, you could hire someone. So it wouldn't shock me one way or the other if they don't absorb what's there into the staff. If you think about it, they've already got 2 defensive back coach, and a lot of times they combine those. It's not always done that way. So I would wonder if you wouldn't save some salary money to be utilized elsewhere. Just kind of talking off the cuff here, and not get you another coach. So it's a good thought, Felix. It's a good question. I just think it could go either way on that at this point. You could hire another edge rusher / linebacker style coach, or absorb that DJ Durkin taking the edge guys, defensive ends isn't taken over with Vontrell King Williams. We'll see as a full, and it would be a nice upgrade or promotion in a sense for him, which I think he's earned, to have defensive line coach, not just interior defensive line coach, or however it's phrased. Anything else that we need to address here on the show? Looking back through some of our commentary, a lot of people were calling for us to do Georgia as the homecoming. I think that's good. I think that's a really good thing. With that being said, we have a lot that's going to be happening this week, portal and stuff like that. So I hope you guys are following us on social media. If you need a link, please do go to our link tree that's in our description on YouTube. It takes you to all the links. It's like a mini website, and you can get everything you need, ways to connect on social media, email us, all that. If you guys ever have emails that you want us to address on the show, the email is there. You can send it to @KyleLoomis@E2CNetwork.com, and we will consider addressing on the show if we feel like it's appropriate. But all that to be said, y'all saddle up. Silly season is here, and we've got plenty to continue talking about in the Auburn Experience. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight, putting up with my shenanigans that were in the show. Go back if you haven't watched it, and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Until we talk to you again, thank you for being here. And of course, War Eagle.